drop them super thanks and let's hit the gong, gang. Welcome to Strangeville. Welcome to the channel. My name is K to the Strange. Did I spell that right? I don't know. You tell me in the comments, gang. I was playing Fortnite with my brother the other night, and I was a few cups into my drinks, as Grandpa liked to say, and spilled water, not booze, but water on my stack of comics that I wanted to look at this week. So my shit's all a little gnarly, a little warped by water, but that's okay. It sucks because this is such a cool cover. Today we're looking at a copy of Doom Patrol from the DC's Young Animal line, which, as we know, is the short-lived line of comics by alleged plagiarist Gerard Way. Alleged plagiarist? What are you talking about, Kevin Strange? Well, you go ask Hart Fisher all about that. He'll tell you all about how Gary Way was a interned at Boneyard Press. Made his first indie comic there, and supposedly walked off with quite a bit of material that he used for lyrics when he became famous with My Chemical Romance. That's between Hart and Gary. I'm only here to talk about comics. So we're going to talk about this particular issue of Doom Patrol, written by Gerard Way and illustrated by Mike Allred and colored by Mike's wife Laura Allred. And this is a fantastic little self-contained single issue comic. I don't think they did. This is issue number 7. I don't think they did 6 or 8. The way the story reads is it concludes. It starts and it finishes, has a beginning, middle, and an end, and it's a fun little read. And Mike Allred's art is always gorgeous to look at. Mike Allred, of course, is the creator of Madman, and believe it or not, gang, I don't own any issues of Madman, shamefully. I have 0 issues of Madman in my collection, so we're going to do this early on this show. If you've got copies of Madman, dupes in your collection or whatever that you'd like to see me take a look at here on the channel, you can send them to Kevin Strange, P.O. Box number 5, Cottage Hills, Illinois 62018. So this issue is called Into the Scantoverse, or Emotional Robots and Psychic Werewolves, a Doom Patrol adventure. So we're gonna have a lot of fun. The dialogue's really, really good. Gerard Way, and I've got a bigger volume of Doom Patrol we can look at, and I've got a couple volumes of Umbrella Academy also. I really like his writing. He writes like he's just this goofy little fat kid. Art school student that blew up and became a famous rock star, but his writing style has always reminded me of like British, like early 1900s British writing. It cracks me up, and this is no different. All his stuff has the weirdest, Gerard Way has a one of the most distinct comic book writing styles, and maybe even you could say he has an underrated writing style in comics. But how have you been, Niles Chalder? I love Mike Aldred's art, and he draws these all of our characters. We got Niles the Chief, we got Larry the Negative Man, we got Cliff the Robot Man, and we got Casey the Space Case as our main characters here. And Mike Aldred's art, as always, is crisp, and he does these thick, even lines that I like a lot. You know, we've talked on the channel before about if you watch my Doro, I think that's how it's pronounced, Doro. I got it right here. Doro Hidoro episode, I talk about the scratchy line and how cool the scratchy line looks when you use the crow quill or the dip pin, and how you can get all this real cool scratchy style. I also really like the thick, bold, clean line style used a lot by Charles Burns and Dan Klaus, but also Mike Aldred. Allred, I put a D in there. There's no D in there. Allred, Mike Allred. He uses this kind of thick, clean line, and I don't even know which style I like better, honestly. I personally work in the clean line style, so I guess I like it more as an artist. As a fan of comic book art, I don't like one more than the other. I think they have their own strengths and weaknesses. People really like Mark Teixeira and Jay Lee for their scratchy style, but I love Charles Burns and Dan Klaus and the Hernandez brothers. They also do I have that handy? Yeah, the Hernandez brothers also work at a real clean line style that I like a lot. The Hernandez brothers are a little more finicky with their line. They don't go quite as thick as like a Charles Burns or a Mike Allred. You can see that really well in this panel here, where Larry's outline is just super thick to kind of convey that he's up in the foreground, and I think aesthetically that's really pleasing to me, satisfying as the Zoomer girls like to call it. But it makes for an easy breezy read here with a lot of fun. We're gonna let's get into it. I guess by this time in the series, the Chief has been exposed as having caused all the accidents that caused the Doom Patrol to become the freaks that they are, and so that he could round them up and turn them into a superhero freak team to do his bidding. And so he's been exiled, and now he's like back, and he's like spying, being a creep and spying on the team. So we have him looking at Larry eating at the mall here, and Cliff says, "Hey!" I can't do a great Cliff because he has a robot voice. He has like a tinny reverberating robot voice, and I can't make that happen with my mouth. So we're going to have to settle for this instead. "Of all the no good, lousy..." "Cliff, funny running into you here. Are you shopping for..." Am I in the way of this? I feel like we're not getting a lot of light onto the page here. There we go. That's a little better. "Cliff, funny running into you here. Are you shopping for some new dungarees? Perhaps an engagement ring?" Now I forget the Cliff voice I was using. "What are you doing?" No, it's not deep like that. "Of all the no good, lousy... What are you doing here? Why are you spying on us?" "I've been reading about the rogue ions they're apparently putting in Kung Pao chicken. It's all over the deep web." "Hey, Chief. What's going on? Haven't seen you in a minute." "Why are you talking to this guy like he was your bunkmate in basic? He's a dangerous and deluded psychopath." "Really, Cliff? You're just throwing around buzzwords." "To answer your question, Larry, I've recently come to learn that the Doom Patrol has reformed, and, to my understanding, lacks proper leadership. I'm here to offer my services." "No." That's interesting. You are right. We don't have a leader at the moment, but we're doing a pretty good job, I think." "Why settle for good when you could be great? Do you want to see the Doom Patrol return to former glory, saving the world at large in the way that only the world's strangest heroes can? If so, I'm your man." "Absolutely not." "Now, hold on a minute, Cliff. He's got a point. We could be doing so much more. We're pretty aimless right now. I mean, look at us. We're at the mall." "Because you told me that's where you go to clear your head, and I figured if you cleared your head, we could move on to our next plan. And knowing this is where you go to clear your head, Larry, is precisely how I found you both. I never forget important details." So obviously you remember the very important detail where you caused all of our accidents in order to turn us into superhuman oddities so we could execute your needlessly complex and self-serving plans. It's not something I'm proud of, Cliff, but I've spent many years reflecting on activities such as those, and I like to think I've done some learning and growing. I want to heal this world of hurt. Baloney. I'll let you both discuss it. Find me at the Orange Julius stand when you've prepared to take your chances of, when you're prepared to take charge of your destiny. And so we set up this whole idea here of Niles coming back and trying to fix what ain't broke, and it's a fun story of him totally fucking up the vibe here of the team. Really, really fun story. I can't with you. You're too much. Then there was that time Cliff got duped by a phony guru and walked into a speeding truck. Casey, any luck finding lotion? That's her cat, I guess, that's missing from a previous issue, which I might have actually, but I don't think it was drawn by Mike Allred, so I didn't pull it out and read it. I was at I went to a comic book show a couple weeks ago with my buddy Andrew, which we'll talk about in the next few videos. Andrew's going to be a guest co-host again, and we'll talk about our experience at this little comic book show we went to, and we picked up a bunch of 50-cent comics, and I found this vein of Gerard Way's Doom Patrol, which I'll be peppering in, Doom Patrol episodes for a long time. I mean, I think I got like 10 or 15 of these Doom Patrols, but a lot of them, it's not the beginning of a storyline and not the end. I have like issues in the middle, which sucks, but I think, like I said, I think this is a standalone issue here by the Allreds, illustrated by the Allreds. Still nothing. I've been to all the shelters in the city and canvassed the whole neighborhood with posters, but I've got no leads. Casey, I'd like you to meet Dr. Niles. Wait for the... I think that was an ambulance. Casey, I'd like you to meet Dr. Niles Chalder, a.k.a. the Chief, founder and leader of the original Doom Patrol. Nice to meet you, Miss Brink. Nice to meet you too, Dr. Chalder. Niles is going to be leading the team again, kind of a trial run. Casey, I see that you're an amputee running around on that heavy metal appendage. I can fix that leg for you. Oh, okay. I mean, it's not really a big deal, but... Great. Let's all head into Danny and go, and we can tell Jane the good news. So Danny is an ambulance in this, in Gerard Way's incarnation of the Doom Patrol, and I have a whole collection of the Danny arc where where Danny the ambulance opens a portal into Dannyland, which is a universe that exists in Danny's head, and it's being exploited by a group that I believe it's a group of food manufacturers that are trying to make a food they're turning the citizens of Dannyland into food to sell here in the real world because they think it's an unlimited supply, so the supply costs nothing. It's like a greedy corporation storyline, but weird, done by Gerard Way. We'll look at that at some point. That was obviously before. I don't know if that's before or after this, actually. I'm not sure where that falls in the timeline where this comic is concerned. Oh, and then now we're in Dannyland. In this next shot, Niles Chalder leading the team. Are you sure this is a good idea? I know what you're thinking. This is the guy that caused the accidents and experiments on other individuals and masterminded a plot to destroy half the world using nanotechnology and turn the other half into freaks of nature. And I hear what you're saying, but I think he really has changed this time. I can't explain it, but I just have a really good feeling about this. So Larry's leading the charge here to bring the chief back. Well, you don't need my permission, but my psyche is still recovering from the struggle with Dr. Harrison, so I'll be staying here to continue mending, and Flex is accumulating the remaining cult member, acclimating the remaining cult members to Dannyland. So you three will be on your own. And what is that in your hand? Okay, she's talking about the cult members, and I believe that all happened in the collection that I have. So I'm going to say this is post Dannyland storyline. That's my guess. This takes place after the collection we'll look at some other point. It's a Hulu clown for Danny. Trust me, everything's going to be great. I hope you're right, Larry. The laboratory of Dr. Niles Chalder. I don't know, Niles. I can't really move my fingers in these bandages you gave me, and they're really making me sweat. What was the purpose of them again? And he's got him dressed like Madman now. He's changing all the he's changing all the costumes into into Madman costumes, which is that's a funny bit by the Allreds here. The sacred nature of the bandages you receive from the negative entity means they are likely vulnerable to witchcraft and other forms of sorcery, so I've switched you over to my new and improved treated plastic bandages similar to your original ones. Now, Miss Brink, if you would be so kind as to scoot a little closer. I am applying a chemical compound I call Grobel to your residual limb. It'll feel ice cold and itch like the dickens, but once the Grobile activates, there's no stopping what it can do. Quite a riot. Presto, new leg. Take these pills, put this on, and thank me later. The brain transfer is complete. Looks like our robot man is ready for the spotlight. I'm practically naked. You're free. Expose your form for all to see and let that wonderful body breathe, man. Also, the experimental Aurea metal that body is made of prefers to be exposed to fresh air, but you're virtually impenetrable in it. Now, if you'll follow me this way. So he's doing all this shit. He's making everybody dress in these costumes, and they're like, why are you making me dress in this? His research proves that soldiers fight harder in uniform. It also reduces casualties due to friendly fire. Now, if I could have all of your attention. And so he explains to them that there's these little entities that cause all negative, called scants, that cause all negative effects in the world, and decides that, and his new scheme is that he's going to use the Doom Patrol to remove the scants from reality. And so he teaches them how to see them, which is to freeze and stop talking in the middle of a sentence, and suddenly you can see all the scants around doing all their diabolical stuff in the world. And you can see all this dialogue. Like, Gerard Way loves to write. He loves to write this silly fucking dialogue, and I love reading it. That's why I've read so much of this out loud. Is because I love, like I said, he writes like a fucking British weirdo, and I love his writing style. But scants take all the bad ideas they acquire on Earth and bring them to refineries such as this one, where the ideas are turned into viscous Uma jelly. Scants then use it to power their city, and if we can head into that opening, we'll find the mother lode of Uma. It's just these bizarre things that fucking Gerard Way dreams up, and they're fun. And so of course everything's, he's dragged these guys into this ridiculous fight that makes no sense against these enemies that nobody can even see, and it's just ridiculous. And everything starts going wrong. Cliff's losing his arms. Dan has morphed into some cosmic horror. They all turn into... What's going on here? What's going on here? It's working! The pain! What did you give us? I've spliced the evolutionary properties of the Uma with a lycanthropic virus from outer space, and transformed you both into psychic werewolves, the natural predator of the evolved man. Looks like those gravity pirates are taking off. They know what's up. And not a moment too soon, Dan has unleashed an evolved human brain blast, something Cliff is vulnerable to, but Not the two of you. Now charge Dan. Devour him. I can see the future. I think I'm going to be sick. That's it. Devour every morsel while I extract the Uma jelly. And then zap you with this reversion ray, returning you to your human forms. And make off with our stash. Out of the Scanto universe. The laboratory of Dr. Niles Chandler. And back to the lab. Rizzo and Scorp, nice to see you both. How have you been? Cut the crap, Chandler. We're here to collect. You'll find the Uma jelly aboard the cube in easily transportable Gravilabs. Should be more than enough to settle me up with Bruno. You better hope so, deadbeat. Or your bottom half won't be the only thing that's non-responsive. Well, Doom Patrol, I'd say that mission was a resounding success. What do you say we make this union permanent? Yeah, we're going to take a pass on that. If you could get Cliff's brain back into his old body, we can... And then she loses her leg. What the frick? Not to worry, Miss Brink. You just need to keep taking these Niles nutrients to keep that leg healthy. If you follow me, I can apply some more grow... What is wrong with you? She slaps his bullshit away from him. Niles, I think it's best if we part ways. I mean, I don't even know how to explain what just happened out there. I also think you're gambling again. I understand, Larry. I failed you all for the last time, it seems. I'll get you all sorted out before you leave if you follow me. I don't remember anything, but I feel funny and my head hurts. It went away. It went as was to be expected, and we're going to get you home now, Cliff. Well, that should do it. If you'll all board the cube, I'll get you back to... We'll take the bus. I guess this is goodbye, Niles. And if I were you, I'd do some real soul-searching and ask yourself if this is the kind of life you want to continue leading. Till then, take care of yourself, Niles, and see you around. But I had a plan. And I guess the missing cat is a humanoid creature now, and that's how we're left it. Great issue, lots of fun. This is goals too. This is my ultimate goal is to end up marrying some hippy dippy art school chick and illustrate these weirdo comics that I make, and end up having my hippy dippy art school wife do all the coloring. All my books work together. I think male female teams, artistic teams are awesome. And there's quite a few successful married art teams in the comic book world where the dude does the illustrating and the wife does the coloring, or in the case of the Peenies, where Wendy Peeney does the illustration and Richard Peeney does like the co-writing and then all the publishing, self-publishing stuff. There's just some really strong collaborative male-female teams, and I like that. I don't think there's anything stronger than that masculine feminine energy coming together as a team, working together. Far more powerful than a masculine only or a feminine only coupling of art collaboration. That's about that. Make sure you like this video and are subscribed. About 50% of the people who watch these videos aren't subscribed. The YouTube algorithm just dumps the videos over to your homepage for whatever reason, even though you're not subscribed to channels like this. And listen, we are only like 50-something subscribers away from hitting that, where is it? Blah, 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 blah. From hitting that big 1,000 subscriber goal, where I will then be able to monetize this channel and make money off of it. That will allow me to make more videos for you, to upgrade the production, get a better camera, computer, microphone, and other things. As a thank you, when we hit there, we're going to hit there before Christmas. I would say we'll be at that 1,000 subscribers. And as an early Christmas present, I'm going to put my 164-page graphic novel Space Worms up for free for digital download on my Patreon account. You can click the link below to the Patreon, and you could consider becoming a patron. For only $3 a month, you gain access to 20 years of comics, novels, and feature films from my twisted mind. The twisted mind of Kevin Strange, who's never plagiarized anything, like Gerard Way is allegedly done to Hart Fisher. You can find Space Worms, my newest book that just came out last month, Count Kefula, a.k.a. Dracula in Strangeville, Death to Strangeville, Wizard of Ganj, Too Many Dabs. And you get shout outs on the channel here. Tons of fun for your $3. Let's shout them out now. Savage Splendor, Dark Lord Carrion, 666 Yoshi, Alien on LSD, Joseph Stark, Loudpack Productions, Dave Baxter, Jason German, Mutant Minds, Joshua Wise, Jeremy Maddox, Nirvana, Andrew Varble, and our newest patron, Darren Oni. Thank you guys for your support. And if you want to see your name up in the bright lights of Hollywood, consider becoming a patron today. And if you make cool comics that utilize, let's see what we've got. Does It Look Like I Give a Fuck by Ron Thuen here, and I was looking before another episode trying to figure out what kind of tools Ron uses to make his stuff. The little lines look like Croquill lines, or possibly small tech pen lines, and I guess you can make those with a brush, but it's harder to get uniform lines like that with a brush than it is to get it with a tech pen or a Croquill. These big thick lines are pretty impossible to get with a Croquill, so I would say these big thick lines can be achieved by brush. So it could be a lot of mixed media. Ron could be using a combination of pens, Croquills, and brushes. I definitely don't think that Ron is doing digital. He's an old school dude, an old school tattoo artist, and so I'm pretty sure this is all done by hand, traditional. And so, what do you think, gang? Jump in the comments and tell us what you think. Ron, can you guess what tools Ron uses to create his stuff? This is all looks to me like tech pens, but I don't know. Maybe Ron will let us know. If you like to make books with Croquills or with brushes or with tech pens or digitally, I ink everything digitally. I do a traditional pencil page, and then I scan it and I do everything with digital ink and color myself. But if you have your own books you would like to see us break down here, you can send them to Kevin Strange. I'm going to talk with the chief voice. If you've got comics you'd like to send to the channel to have us review, send them to Kevin Strange, P.O. Box number 5, Cottage Hills, Illinois, 62018. And that's going to do it for us today, gang. I hope you had a good day. If you had a really, really bad day, there's going to be a link in the comments for resources you can utilize, because I'd like to have you back here in Strangeville having a great day. A bunch of great days, an unlimited amount of great days with us here at the channel. So remember to stay strange.